Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If sign-in system in High School DxD. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name in the description below. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 71, Church Beauty Duo Recruited. After the White Dragon Emperor Valet had vanished, it took a while for everyone to collect themselves. Kyoya, are you really going to fight the White Dragon Emperor? Rias looked at me with concern. Although she knew I was strong, Valet was one of the two heavenly dragons, feared even by gods and satans. The others also looked at me with concern. Don't underestimate me. Even if I don't go looking for Valet, he'll eventually come looking for me. Besides, it's just a spar, not a deathmatch. You don't have to worry so much. Seeing how serious the atmosphere had become, I quickly reassured them. And how can you be so sure I'll lose? I still have some trump cards I haven't used yet that could definitely defeat Valet. I added with a wink. Exclamation point. Hearing me reveal that I still had a trump card, Rias, Sona, and the others stared at me in shock. They couldn't believe that I was still holding back, even after displaying such incredible power. Oh my, Kyoya, you're so sneaky. Keeping secrets from us? Tell us already. This teasing tone made my skin crawl. I turned to look at Akino, thinking, this vixen, trying to shake my resolve. I'll have to deal with her later. Well, if it's a trump card, it needs to be kept secret, right? But you'll see it eventually. Seeing that I didn't want to elaborate, they didn't press the issue, knowing they would probably find out eventually anyway. This incident is finally over. Not only did we eliminate the fallen angel Cadre Kokobile, but Kiba also overcame his psychological trauma and unlocked his balance breaker. Happy ending for everyone. But I paused, then turned to look at the dejected Zenobia and Irina. Zenobia, Irina, now that you know your god is no longer around, what are your plans? We don't know. Hearing my question, the two girls looked lost. Although Kokobile is dead, the stolen Excalibur fragments were destroyed. You failed your mission. And since you became our allies, the church will likely see you as traitors or heretics if you return. Hearing this, Zenobia lowered her head in resignation, remaining silent. I'm going back to the church. Irina declared, her voice trembling. Are you going back to die? I asked, incredulous. Although I knew Irina's faith was more devout than Zenobia's, I couldn't help but feel frustrated by her stubborn decision. Don't you remember what happened to Asia and Kiba? If you go back, they might even execute you. Then what do you suggest I do? Irina slumped to the ground, looking lost and confused. You can live with us, of course. We've been getting along well these past few days, haven't we? I smiled and continued to suggest. Rather than being branded a heretic by the church and being expelled or executed, why don't you become devils? Look, there are two mouse sisters right here. Hearing my words, Rias and Sona's eyes lit up. These were two holy sword wielders. They were incredibly talented individuals. That's right. How about becoming members of our family? Rias and Sona both extended their hands to Zenobia and Irina. This offer stunned both Zenobia and Irina. Zenobia lowered her head, contemplating her options. Becoming a devil might be the best decision for her right now. Irina, with her more devout faith, had a much stronger reaction. I don't want to become a devil. I'd rather go back to the church. Hearing this, I started to think about how to convince her. She was a beautiful girl with twin tails, how could I let her go? I suddenly swept Irina off her feet, carrying her in a princess hold. Kaya. What are you doing? Put me down. Irina's face flushed red at an alarming speed. I'm going to have a private conversation with Irina. Zenobia, you can choose to become either Rias's or Sona's servant. It's up to you, I said, walking away with Irina in my arms. The others were stunned by this sudden turn of events, but Rias and Sona resumed their competition for Zenobia. After a while, Zenobia raised her head and looked at Rias. "You're Kaioya's fiancé, right? Now that my lord is gone, I have a new goal, to have children with Kaioya, preferably a girl. Would you still accept me as your servant knowing this?" The girls were all speechless. Talk about a shocking declaration. Sigh. "I don't mind, as long as you succeed," Rias replied with a sigh. She knew that I would have many women in the future. She couldn't have me all to herself. As long as she could secure the position of the main wife, that was enough. "In that case, I'll become your servant, Rias Gremory," Zenobia declared, taking Rias's hand. Hearing Zenovia's answer, Rias smiled and held out her hand. Sona, seeing this, twitched her eyes. It was because of Rias's relationship with Kaioya that Zenobia chose to join Rias. Sona watched them, her eyes filled with frustration. Zenobia had chosen Rias solely because of her engagement to me. "Ugh! I'm so jealous," Sona grumbled. Just then, I returned with Irina, her hand in mine. Even though Irina hasn't agreed to become a devil, she's joining us. And she's one of us now. Seeing Irina's shy expression, the group started to speculate. "Kaioya, did you do something inappropriate? That pervert must have done something again, senpai. Kaioya, what did you do to Irina?" Akino asked with interest. "Hee, I can't tell you. It's a little secret between Irina and me." I simply smiled. "Actually, I just told her that she didn't have to become a devil to stay with us and that maybe in the future, she could even become an angel and see her lord again." At first, Irina didn't believe me. But eventually, she was persuaded and decided to stay with us. Of course, I wasn't lying to her. After all, I'm a man with a system. Making my wife an angel in the future would be as easy as pie. The system tasks related to Zenobia and Irina were also completed, but I didn't pay much attention to the rewards at the moment. After everything was settled, we all headed home together. Chapter 72, Romance in the Lingerie Store. Meanwhile, news spread like wildfire of Kokobil's theft of the Holy Swords, his plan to destroy Kuo Town and his attempt to kill the sisters of Mao Surzex and Mao Serafal, all to reignite the great war between the three factions. Even more shocking was the news that Kokobil, a fallen angel cadre, had been effortlessly defeated by a human. This news caused a stir among the leaders of the three factions. After all, during the raiding game, Kaioya had remained in the background, not participating directly in the battles. Now, the leaders of the three factions, through various clues, speculated that Rias's ability to wield the sword of promised victory was likely due to Kaioya, and that he was the true wielder of the legendary blade. As a result, this human boy named Hibari Kaioya officially became a person of high interest to the various factions. In the underworld, the four great Maos were gathered for a meeting. Surzex Lucifer, Serafal Leviathan, Ajuka Beelzebub, and Falbium Asmodeus sat around a table, discussing the events that had transpired in Kuo Town. Surzex began by introducing Hibari Kaioya, Rias's fiancé, and explaining his role in the raiding game. The other Maos were stunned. "Your sister found a wielder of the sword of promised victory as a fiancé? How come we didn't know about this? And, we were wondering why Rias and her peerage were so powerful, crushing that Phoenix kid. So that's the inside scoop. Surzex, are you saying that Rias and her peerage achieved such results after only 7 days of training under that human, Hibari Kaioya?" Ajuka asked, his voice filled with disbelief. "Yes. That's the truth. I was also shocked when I first heard it." Surzex smiled. "Wow, I didn't expect Rias-chan to find such an amazing fiancé. And she's become so strong. I'm sure Sona-chan isn't happy about being surpassed in strength." Serafal said, worried about her own sister. "And that damn Kokobil. How dare he try to hurt Sona-chan? I'll give Azazel a piece of my mind when I see him." Then Serafal roared, her face turning cold. Seeing the sister complex Serafal getting worked up, the other three Mao felt a headache coming on. "Calm down, Serafal, now's not the time to worry about that. We need to focus on the upcoming Three Factions Peace Conference. Meanwhile, at the Fallen Angel headquarters, Azazel looked at Cocobeel's lifeless body with a sigh. Sigh, what a headache. I'm sure I'll be getting an earful from them at the upcoming peace conference. So, Valley, what do you think after meeting that human boy? Then, Azazel turned to Valley, who was standing before him, and asked curiously. He's interesting. The first time I met him, he only had the strength of a mid-class. But now, he's already reached Mao class. I'm looking forward to our next fight. Valley narrowed his eyes, a thrill of excitement running through him. Is that so? It seems I'll have to meet this young man who you consider a worthy opponent, Azazel said with a thoughtful smile. While the various factions were discussing Kyoya was being dragged around town by the girls on a shopping spree. Walking down the street, we attracted a lot of attention. The men were jealous of me, surrounded by so many beautiful girls. They were probably cursing me in their hearts, damn show off. The women were envious of the girls, wishing they had such a handsome boyfriend. And me? I was exhausted. Although it was wonderful to be accompanied by such lively and youthful beauties, I had never realized that all girls were the same when it came to shopping. We were originally supposed to be buying clothes for Zenobia and Irina, but somehow we ended up in a lingerie store. At first, I was a little embarrassed to go in. But then I figured, they're all my women, and I had to protect them, so I went in. Once inside the lingerie store, I was stunned. Wow! So many styles I've never seen before. I've really been missing out. While everyone was browsing, Zenobia held up a catalog filled with pictures of erotic panties in front of me. Kyoya, which of these do you think is best? Zenobia asked seriously. Huh? Zenobia, you're... I was speechless. Hey, Zenobia, what are you doing showing him that? Irina blushed and quickly pulled Zenobia aside, scolding her. I'm just asking my future husband about his preferences. If a woman wears lingerie that her lover likes, it increases the chances of a panty peek incident, which can bring the couple closer and lead to the birth of a child. Zenobia explained matter-of-factly. Everyone stared at Zenobia, speechless. What kind of logic is that? Everyone's heads were filled with black lines, unable to retort. Then, they went back to browsing. Before I could even catch my breath, Zenobia suddenly pulled me into a fitting room. Zenobia, are you planning to have a baby with me in here? Kyoya asked, his face contorted with a mixture of surprise and amusement. Kyoya, do you want to? Zenobia asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I now have a new goal, which is to have a child of my own. And Kyoya, you meet all my requirements, so please have a child with me. Zenobia suddenly embraced Kyoya. Kyoya looked at Zenobia, who was only wearing lingerie, her beautiful body and innocent face on full display. He couldn't resist any longer. So, I set up a magic barrier, then placed my right hand on Zenobia's waist and gently lifted her face with my other hand. Zenobia blushed, understanding what was about to happen. Kyoya leaned down and kissed her. Half an hour later. We should go out now. They're probably looking for us, I said, holding Zenobia's hand as we exited the fitting room. Okay. Looking at me, Zenobia's face was flushed. When we emerged, we found Rias and the others looking for us. Kyoya, where did you and Zenobia go? We've been looking all over for you. Rias said, sounding a bit resentful. Oh, I was just helping Zenobia pick out some lingerie. Sorry about that. I scratched my head and apologized. Seeing my explanation, Rias and the others didn't say anything more. Then, the group finished their lingerie shopping and returned home. Pervert Kyoya-senpai, you must have done something with Zenobia. Back home, Kaneko came to my room and looked at me as if she were staring at a pervert, but her tone was tinged with jealousy. You have a good nose, Kaneko-chan. You can sense Zenobia's change, can't you? I replied with a chuckle. Then, before Kaneko could react, I pulled her into his arms. Kaya. Pervert. Kaneko struggled, but then she stopped as Kyoya kissed her tempting little lips. After a while, Kaneko collapsed weakly in my arms. Kaneko lay quietly in my arms, whispering, "Kyoya-senpai, do you really like me?" "Kaneko-chan, I've always liked you. Don't you know that?" Hearing my words, I looked at Kaneko tenderly, gently stroking her silver hair. "But, Kaneko, no matter what you were like before, I'll always be here for you. So, can you tell me about your past?" Just as Kaneko was hesitating, I interrupted her. Kaneko hesitated, but she eventually nodded. She revealed that she was a rare breed of Nikomata. Her parents had died when she was young, and she and her sister Kuroka had been on their own. They were eventually taken in by the House of Nibarius, but during an experiment, Kuroka's Nekashu powers went berserk, and she killed their master. Kuroka became a wanted stray devil, and Kaneko was also implicated. She was about to be executed when Ria saved her and took her in as her servant. That was why she feared the power of her own Nekashu heritage, and also hated her older sister, Kuroka, hoping to one day capture her. Chapter 73, The Gate of Babylon, Misaka Makoto's photo album? After sharing her past, Kaneko lowered her head, her small body trembling. Sensing Kaneko's fear, I tightened my embrace and reassured her, "Kaneko-chan, the truth isn't what you saw back then. Your sister, Kuroka, didn't kill those people because she lost control of her Nekashu powers. She did it to protect you." "What?" "My sister clearly. At the time, your master was conducting an experiment on artificial super devils, using extreme methods to awaken the potential of his servants. And he was even going to do it to you, Kaneko-chan. So, to protect you from suffering the same fate as the others, your sister, Kuroka, killed them and fled, fighting off everyone who tried to pursue her. That's why she was labeled an SS-class stray devil. After she escaped, the House of Nibarius' secret experiment was discovered by the higher-ups of the underworld and was shut down and covered up. So, your sister didn't abandon you. She had no choice. You were too young back then. If you had been labeled a stray devil, you might have been killed." Kuroka Wunchin. Hearing my words, Kaneko was deeply shaken, tears welling up in her eyes. "But Kyoya-senpai, how do you know about me and my sister?" "Kaneko-chan, let's just say I know a lot of things. Now that you know the truth, you don't have to be afraid of your Nekashu powers anymore," I said, gently encouraging her. "I understand, Kyoya-senpai." Kaneko wiped away her tears and smiled at me. She suddenly started squirming in my arms, making me feel a surge of warmth, which caused a certain reaction. "Kyoya-senpai, you're..." Suddenly, feeling something pressing against her, Kaneko blushed and said hesitantly, "That's a normal reaction, you know? After all, Kaneko-chan is so cute." I chuckled. "Kyoya-senpai, I can..." "Stop right there. I know what you're going to say, Kaneko-chan. But you're still too young. I won't allow it." I interrupted Kaneko before she could finish. I knew that if Kaneko got pregnant at her age, it could be fatal for both her and the baby. I wouldn't let that happen. "Okay." Hearing my words, Kaneko was a little disappointed, but she also knew that I was worried about her. Thinking about this, Kaneko felt a warmth in her heart. And so, the two of us embraced quietly. Time passed quickly, and soon it was nightfall. "Kyoya-senpai, it's getting late. I should go back." Seeing that Kaneko was about to leave, I kissed her again. After a moment, we separated. "Kaneko-chan, from now on, you're completely mine." Hearing my words, Kaneko blushed faintly. "I know. Sorry, Rias Bucho. I couldn't help myself." Kaneko thought to herself as she left my room. After Kaneko left, the system notified me that the original task related to Kaneko had been completed. Ding! Task completed. Reward, X1 red grade gift bag. Including the rewards from Zenobia and Irina, I now had 3 unopened rewards. System, open them all. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 copy of Makoto Misaka's photo album, Gate of Babylon, Forbidden Jutsu. Dead Demon Consuming Seal. Misaka's photo album. Put. I'm not that kind of person. I read the classics. I scoffed, pretending to be disgusted. I would never look at such indecent material. What a joke. I have pride and dignity. This system underestimates me. Despite my words, my mind and body were very cooperative as I flipped through the album, becoming completely engrossed in it. After a while, I put it away feeling satisfied. Then I looked at the second reward. It's Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon. The Gate of Babylon, treasure of the king, was Gilgamesh's noble phantasm, a key-shaped sword that connected to the golden capital. It allowed the user to freely access the treasures within. The more wealth the user had, the more powerful the noble phantasm became. In battle, Gilgamesh would launch all the prototypes of noble phantasms from the Gate of Babylon, like bullets. And after being used, the launched noble phantasms would automatically return to Gilgamesh's treasury, effectively giving him an unlimited supply of weapons. However, I seem to have already borrowed from Gilgamesh once before. I wonder what he'd do if I ever ended up in the Type Moon universe. I couldn't help but look forward to his reaction. Then, my eyes fell on the last reward, and my face turned grim. Dead Demon Consuming Seal was a forbidden jutsu from the Naruto world. Once this technique was used, the caster would make a contract with the Shinigami, selling their soul to the Shinigami. This meant that after consuming the target's soul, the caster's soul would also be consumed by the Shinigami. Then, the casters and the enemy's souls would forever hate and fight each other in the Shinigami's stomach. TCH, useless reward. Then, I started to research the Gate of Babylon. Early the next morning, after finishing breakfast, Sona and the other student council girls dragged me to an isolated training ground, saying they wanted me to train them too. It seemed that Rias and Aquino's current power had put a lot of pressure on them. I pondered for a moment, then explained what I had done with Rias and the others in detail. After listening to my explanation, Sona was first shocked, then resentful. There was such a powerful training tool. But now it's gone? So what are we supposed to do? I paused, then smiled. Don't worry, I have a solution. Then, to their surprise, I cut my finger and let the blue OD drip into a bottle I had prepared beforehand. Seeing my actions, Sona, Tsubaki, and the others were confused. Kyoya, what are you doing? Heh, I now have the true dragon bloodline. My blood can be very helpful to you. I smiled mysteriously, then continued, if you drink my blood, you'll also gain the dragon attribute, which will enhance your power, magic, and overall potential. What? Sona and the others were shocked. Was there really such a magical thing? Would you like to try it? At first, there might be a little pain, but after you succeed, not only will your strength increase, but your potential will also improve. Looking at the bottle filled with my blood, and recalling Rias's current power, Sona took a deep breath and was the first to speak. I'll go first. Chapter 74, Magical Girl Seraphal appears. Seeing how eager Sona was to try, I handed her the vial. After opening the vial, Sona drank a portion of my blood. Her expression immediately changed as a wave of pain washed over her. In the next instant, Sona collapsed to her knees, her body emitting billows of red steam. Sona, just hold on a little longer. You'll fuse with it completely soon. I encouraged her from the side. Just as I finished speaking, the pained expression on Sona's face vanished, and a powerful draconic aura emanated from her body. How do you feel, Sona? Sona Kaishu, are you alright? Kaicho. Seeing this change, the student council members gathered around Sona, concern etched on their faces. I feel much stronger. It's like I've almost reached the level of an ultimate class devil. Sona said, marveling at the changes in her body. Tsubaki and the others were astonished when they heard their president's words. Sona, in particular, could clearly feel the powerful presence of the dragon within her. Sona, you haven't fully absorbed this power yet. But as time goes on, your strength will increase even faster. I explained to Sona. Yes, I understand, Kyoya. Thank you so much. Sona expressed her gratitude to me sincerely. With our relationship, there's no need for such formality, is there? Hearing Sona's thanks, I walked over and gently stroked her smooth, short hair, then teased her. Kyoya. Feeling my hand on her head, even the usually calm and collected Sona blushed. Alright, I won't tease you anymore. Next up is Tsubaki. Let's do one at a time. Then, I had the girls try one by one. I stayed nearby in case anything went wrong. Thankfully, they all managed to absorb the power successfully, and their strength increased significantly. The girls immediately decided to spar, saying they wanted to familiarize themselves with their new power. I watched them fight, a smile tugging at my lips. Just as I was starting to get bored watching them, a soft, cute voice called out from the distance. Sona-chan. Hearing this voice, I looked in the direction it came from. Seeing who it was, I was momentarily stunned. Another familiar character had appeared. It was a petite, busty beauty. She looked somewhat similar to Sona, with long, black hair styled in twintails that flowed behind her. Strangely, she was wearing a pink magical girl outfit and holding a magical girl wand. What a bizarre individual. Oh, Wani-sama. Seeing this person, Sona's face twitched uncontrollably, and she even stuttered. It was Seraphal Leviathan, Sona's older sister and one of the four Satans. She was known for her cheerful personality, her love of magical girl outfits, and her extreme sister complex. As Seraphal approached, the system issued a new task. Ding! Discovered target character, Seraphal. Task grade, black. Task condition, have her wear the system rewarded, exquisite magical girl outfit, but... I knew it. I thought to myself. That's why the system gave me that magical girl outfit. It was all part of its plan. This task was both simple and difficult. Seraphal loved magical girl outfits. If I offered her the exquisite magical girl outfit, she would definitely accept it. But Seraphal was also an extreme siscon. She had even beaten up anyone who had tried to propose to Sona. If she found out that Sona was living with me. Hiss. Just thinking about it made me shiver. I needed to come up with a foolproof plan. While I was thinking, Seraphal had already arrived beside everyone and greeted them. Yahoo, hello everyone. Wani-sama. Seraphal-sama, hello. Greetings, Seraphal-sama. The student council members all greeted this Mao. Sona-chan, did you miss your Wani-sama? I heard Sona-chan was in danger, so I came right away. Seraphal said, blinking and making a V sign with her hands. If I hadn't known my cute Sona-chan was safe, I would have attacked Grigori. Exclamation point. Wani-sama, can you please stop saying such terrifying things? It's really causing trouble. And I told you, Kokobile was defeated by Kyoya, so why did you come to the human world? You're a Mao. Seraphal's eyes suddenly landed on Kyoya, and she immediately grabbed my hand. Oh. It's finally nice to meet you. Kyoya, you're little Ryushchan's fiancé, right? Thank you so much for protecting Sona-chan. I'm Sona-chan's older sister, one of the four great Satans of the underworld, Seraphal Leviathan. If you come to the underworld, you can mention my name. And no one will dare bully you. Seraphal said, puffing out her chest proudly. Hearing this, I was momentarily stunned. Was I about to become a spoiled brat, backed by one of the four great Satans of the underworld? It didn't seem like a bad idea. Sona and I are close friends. Protecting her is something I should do. There's no need for thanks. I just smiled faintly at Seraphal's gratitude. But no matter what, I still have to thank you for saving my sister. Seraphal winked at me, striking a cute pose. Also, Sona-chan, you haven't been affectionate with your dear Wani-sama anymore. It makes me so sad. Sniff, sniff. Then, Seraphal pretended to cry, looking at Sona. And I finally witnessed the legendary instant face change. Tomo, beside me, whispered, Kyoya, don't mind it. Sarafal-sama is always like this when she sees Sona Kaishu. Just get used to it. I twitched my lips, not knowing what to say. I could only remain silent. Wani-sama, can you please stop being so childish? I'm all grown up now. You've done this so many times. I won't fall for it anymore. Sona pressed her hand against her sister's head and sighed. But I raised an eyebrow. Sona, you're really something. Aren't you forgetting that you have a slight sister complex yourself? I remembered Sona once saying, I absolutely won't let my sister come into contact with those harmful pests. One is an extreme siscon, the other a mild one. You really are sisters. I mused. Chapter 75, Tricking Mouse Sarafal. Seeing her sister constantly acting up, Sona decided to change the subject. Wani-sama, why did you suddenly come to the human world? Don't you have a lot of work to do in the underworld? He. The Three Factions peace conference between devils, angels, and fallen angels is coming up soon, right? I'm in charge of foreign affairs for the underworld, so I have to attend the talks, Sarafal replied with a giggle. So, for a while, your Wani-sama will be staying in Koho Town. That means I can live with Sona-chan. Exclamation point. No. Wani-sama, you can't stay with me. I'll find you a place to stay right away. Sona exclaimed, her face pale with alarm. The thought of Sarafal's eccentric behavior filled Sona with dread. It's no use. I already know where Sona-chan is living. Sarafal said, blinking innocently. Just then, I interjected, I think my house is already full. We haven't finished expanding it yet. Where would Sarafal-sama stay? Hearing this, Sarafal's eyes widened in shock. What do you mean? Are you and Sona-chan living together? That's right. And not just Sona. Everyone from the student council and Rias's peerage are also living at my house. So, who are you going to share a room with? Living together. Sarafal murmured, her face turning pale. She looked like a cat whose fur was standing on end, then she bared her teeth and roared, Wah! You hateful human, how dare you steal my cute Sona-chan? Seeing Sarafal's reaction, I was speechless. This siscon is a little terrifying. I thought to myself. Sona quickly stepped in between me and Sarafal, sighing helplessly. Wani-sama, please stop making a scene. Otherwise, I'll be really angry. Hearing Sona's words, Sarafal froze as if struck by lightning. Then, she retreated to a shady corner, squatting down, drawing circles with her finger, and whimpering. Boo-hoo-hoo, Sona-chan is mad at me. She doesn't want me anymore. Seeing this childish mow, the student council members exchanged helpless glances. I'll go talk to her, I said, smiling at the others. Kyoya. Hearing my words, Sona was taken aback. Don't worry, it'll be fine, I reassured her, walking towards Sarafal. Hearing my footsteps, Sarafal looked up at me happily, but when she saw it was me, her expression fell again. She pouted and said, are you here to gloat? Seeing Sarafal acting like a child, I squatted down beside her and smiled. Sarafal-sama, Sona didn't mean it. She's still your beloved little sister. Look, she's looking at you right now. So, cheer up. Give me a smile. Sarafal turned her head and saw Sona looking at her with concern. Immediately, she jumped up, smiling, and said to me in a proud tone, I knew it. Sona-chan loves me the most. I quickly chimed in, of course. Sona likes Sarafal-sama the most. Hearing my flattery, Sarafal looked very pleased with herself, but then she added, of course. But even if you praise me like that, I won't give Sona-chan to you. Oh, that would be terribly rude of me. Although I spoke respectfully, that wasn't what I was thinking. Sarafal, just wait. Once I complete the task, not only will Sona be mine, but you'll be mine too. He. Then, I smiled mysteriously and said to Sarafal, by the way, I heard that Seraphal-sama likes to dress up as a magical girl. I happen to have an exquisite magical girl gift that I'd like to give you. I'm sure you'll love it." Seraphal's eyes widened in surprise. She couldn't believe I knew about her hobby and had even prepared a gift for her. The thought of an exquisite magical girl outfit filled her with excitement. "Really? Are you really giving me a magical girl gift? In that case, I'll reluctantly accept it." As soon as I finished speaking, a delicate magical girl outfit appeared in my hand. The instant she saw the outfit in my hand, Seraphal's eyes lit up, staring at it intently. "Oh my! It's so beautiful. I've never seen anything like it." Then, Seraphal took the magical girl outfit and held my hand. "You're not so bad after all. Thank you for the wonderful gift. And you saved Sona-chan before. In that case, I can consider sharing Sona-chan with you. How about it? I'm generous, right?" Hearing this, my thoughts momentarily froze. What a dedicated siscon. But to think she'd sell out her own sister after being bribed with a magical girl outfit. This turn of events left me speechless. But even more tragic was that Sona, who had been curious about what I was discussing with her sister, overheard Seraphal's outrageous statement. Her head was steaming, and she was gritting her teeth in frustration. "What do you mean, share me? Am I a cake to be sliced up and shared?" she thought, fuming. Seeing that Seraphal had accepted the gift, I continued to tempt her. "Seraphal-sama, why don't you change into this magical girl outfit now? Then I can take some photos or videos of you. We could even organize a magical girl TV show. And we can post the photos and videos online, and even broadcast your magical girl show on TV. That way, the whole world will know how cute and beautiful Seraphal-sama is. Maybe even the angels and devils of the three factions will think that Seraphal-sama is the most beautiful, even more beautiful than the Archangel Gabriel. What do you think, Seraphal-sama? Are you interested?" Chapter 76, First Encounter with a Super Devil Being, First Purple Grade Task. Watching Seraphal's eyes light up at my suggestion, I couldn't help but grin. I knew from my past life's memories that Seraphal wouldn't be able to resist such a tempting offer. After all, she had even dragged Sona and Rias into auditioning for a live-action magical girl milking movie in the human world. She even considered the perverted Issei Hayadu and the Archangel Gabriel as her rivals. That's why I had specifically mentioned Archangel Gabriel, to provoke her. After a while, just as I expected, Seraphal burst out laughing, excitedly hugging me. "This is like a dream come true. It's amazing. I want to film it. I want to please, let's start now." Seeing Seraphal's excited reaction, Sona pulled her away. "Geez, Wane-sama, calm down. Sona-chan, this is my dream. Imagine me, a magical girl, becoming famous throughout the three factions. I can't help but get excited." After some bickering, Seraphal finally agreed to go home with us and discuss the details later. Sona, seeing that she couldn't stop her sister, decided to let it go. However, when we returned home, I was stunned by the scene before me. "Kyoya, you're back." "Eh? Seraphal-sama is here too?" Rias greeted me with delight. But when she saw Seraphal in her pink magical girl outfit, Rias's eyes widened in surprise. "Seraphal-sama, I thought we were going together." "You're too fast," I chuckled. "Hee, I missed Sona-chan too much. But I didn't expect Surzex to be here already." Seraphal replied with a giggle. "You must be Mr. Kyoya." Following the voice, I knew who it was. It was none other than one of the four great Satans of the underworld, Surzex Lucifer. Sitting beside him were Rias and their father, Zeoticus Gremory. Evelyn and the other maids were standing behind them. Ding! Discovered target character, Surzex Gremory, task grade, purple. Task condition, terrify him. My heart skipped a beat when I heard the system's notification. This was my first purple grade task. Even higher than Seraphal's black grade task. Seraphal was a Mao class, but Surzex was a super devil, one of the most powerful beings. P.S. Surzex Lucifer is in truth among the top 10 strongest beings in the world, standing alongside powerhouses like Great Red, Ophis, Shiva, Thor, and Hades. His power was undoubtedly immense. But why wasn't there a task for Zeoticus Gremory? He is the head of the Gremory family. And his son, Surzex, was a powerhouse at the super devil level. Alas! He really was just a minor character in the DxD world. But I was still very happy having a purple grade task. As for the task condition, I could easily accomplish that during the 3-faction peace conference. Not only Surzex. There would also be the Archangel Michael of Heaven, the Governor General of the Fallen Angels, Azazel and the White Dragon Emperor Valley, and, perhaps, Kateria Leviathan. When I unlock the rewards from all of these people, even if the rewards were of the lowest grade, the items would still be of the highest quality in the ultimate class. Hiss. Damn, that's a huge haul. By then, even without using the Azure Dragon's power, with my own strength, perhaps only Ophis and Great Red would be able to defeat me. Kyoya, my father and I have been wanting to meet you, Surzex suddenly said, interrupting my thoughts. Kyoya, this is my Br Rias began, but I cut her off. Rias, I'm your boyfriend. Of course, I know your family, I chuckled. Surzex-sama, Zeoticus-sama, it's a pleasure to meet you for the first time, I said, turning to them with a smile. Surzex and Zeoticus nodded with smiles. Since you're Rias's fiancé, you're practically family now. There's no need to be so formal, Surzex said. I nodded in agreement, then continued to chat with my future brother-in-law, Surzex. Just as everyone was chatting, Zeoticus suddenly spoke. Kyoya and Rias are a perfect match, made for each other. How do you feel about Rias, Kyoya? Zeoticus looked at the handsome young man before him, a satisfied smile on his face. Exclamation point. As soon as Zeoticus finished speaking, almost everyone turned to look at me, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and anticipation. Rias's heart pounded, a nervous excitement coursing through her. She looked at me, a blush creeping across her cheeks. Sona and Aquino, who were both vying for the position of main wife, looked disappointed. The girls who were already in a relationship with me, on the other hand, didn't care as much, although they did look a little jealous. Uncle, Rias is very beautiful, and I love her very much, I declared, looking at Rias with a gentle smile. That's wonderful to hear, Zeoticus exclaimed, his smile widening. However, Zeoticus's next words stunned everyone. So, when are you two planning to get married? Rias's mother and I are looking forward to having grandchildren. Father. Rias shrieked and blushed furiously. Although I'd love to marry Rias, we're still students. How about we get engaged first? We can talk about marriage later. I looked at the resentful and dejected expressions of the other girls, and I could only come up with a compromise. Hearing my answer, the girls all breathed a sigh of relief. Rias was pleased. She knew that getting engaged would increase her chances of becoming the main wife. Sona and Aquino, on the other hand, believed that as long as we weren't married, they still had a chance to win me over. Surzex and Zeoticus were also very satisfied with my response. After all, they were happy to have such a perfect and powerful son-in-law. Chapter 77, Challenging the Fallen Angel Governor General Azazel. Just as I was conversing with Surzex, a figure suddenly appeared outside the house. Sensing this presence, Surzex, Seraphal, and I instantly vanished from the room, teleporting to confront the newcomer. The others, initially confused by our sudden disappearance, quickly realized something was amiss when they sensed the immense surge of magic power outside. When they rushed outside, they saw Seraphal, her expression dark, confronting the figure. Her fury was palpable. Azazel, you bastard! I haven't even come looking for you yet, and you have the nerve to show up here, she roared. What? The Governor General of the Fallen Angels, Azazel? Hearing this, the girls all gasped, their expressions filled with shock. Rias's eyes widened in realization. No wonder Seraphal-sama is so angry, she murmured. Clearly, Seraphol was furious at Azazel because his subordinate, Kokobeel, had nearly killed her beloved little sister. Aquino looked at Azazel with a complicated expression, her thoughts unreadable. Then, Azazel tucked away his 12 black wings, his expression nonchalant. "Greetings, Satans. I apologize for intruding." Then, seeing Seraphol, with her twin tails swaying even without a breeze, her face filled with rage, Azazel's mouth twitched, and he looked awkward. He had originally intended to meet with Kyoya privately, but he hadn't expected to encounter 2 of the 4 great Satans as well. Especially Seraphol, who was known for her short temper and sister complex. After what had happened with Sona, Azazel was dreading this encounter. "Well, Seraphol, you don't have to be so angry. Look, your sister is perfectly fine, isn't she?" Azazel could only offer a weak smile. His words only served to infuriate Seraphol further. "What? You have the nerve to say that? If it weren't for Kyoya, my precious Sona-chan would have." Seraphol's anger grew with each word, and she finally lashed out, unleashing a blast of ice magic at Azazel. "Become an ice sculpture," she roared. The ice magic, imbued with her intense emotions, spread rapidly towards Azazel with extreme cold. Faced with this powerful, surging attack, Azazel, seemingly wanting to let Seraphol vent her anger, didn't dodge. He gathered his magic power to create a defensive barrier. Boom! With a loud crash, the ice magic slammed into the magic barrier. In the blink of an eye, Azazel's magic barrier shattered, and his legs were frozen solid. The chilling, white mist spread out from him, instantly freezing the surrounding area. Azazel could only helplessly melt the ice on his legs and smile wryly at Seraphol. "All right, Seraphol. You've vented your anger. Can we calm down now?" Hearing this, Seraphol just huffed coldly. "Don't think you've gotten away with this." Just then, Surzex intervened. "Seraphol, calm down. There are other people here." Hearing Surzex's words, Seraphol glanced around and saw the girls standing nearby, staring at them with wide eyes and expressions of terror. Clearly, Seraphol and Azazel's auras had been too strong, and the close proximity was overwhelming for the girls. Realizing this, Seraphol sheepishly scratched the back of her head. Then, she turned to Azazel and snapped, "This time, you're lucky. But if there's a next time..." Before she could finish, Seraphol raised her fist and shook it menacingly at Azazel, the meaning clear. Seeing Seraphol finally stand down, Azazel breathed a sigh of relief. Then, Surzex turned to Azazel and asked, "Azazel, why are you here? The 3-faction peace conference is still a few days away. Don't tell me you just happened to be passing by." Azazel scratched his head casually. "Well, you don't have to be so tense. I'm not here to fight. I just came to see this young man named Kyoya Habari." "Kyoya? Kyoya-senpai?" Hearing that, the girls were initially surprised, but then they became worried. After all, Kokobeel had died by my hand. They were afraid that Azazel might be here for revenge. Rias's eyes sharpened, and she said pointedly, "Governor General of the Fallen Angels, are you here to avenge Kokobeel?" Everyone glared at Azazel suspiciously. Just then, I heard the system's notification. Discovered target character, Azazel, task grade, black, task condition, fight him for 10 minutes without being defeated. This surprised me a little. It seemed I had to give it my all for this task. From the system's marker, I could see that although Azazel hadn't reached the Super Devil level, he was definitely stronger than Seraphol. This was because Azazel's task marker was even showing hints of slight purple. Just then, Azazel chuckled awkwardly. "There's no need to be so wary. I just heard about you from Valley, and I'm interested in meeting you and have a little chat." I smirked. "Valley, huh? So, Governor General of the Fallen Angels, now that you've met me, what do you think?" Hearing my words, Azazel turned to look at me, scrutinizing me carefully. But after thoroughly examining me, he found nothing. After a long moment, he finally spoke. "I can't quite see through you. No wonder Valley considers you a rival. Then, I suddenly smiled and proposed, "Well, you can't learn much just by looking, can you? How about we have a little spar? That way, you can get to know me better." My words stunned everyone. Kyoya. Kyoya, are you serious? Even Azazel couldn't believe his ears. Seraphal also tried to dissuade me. Kyoya, Azazel is no Kokobeel. You need to think this through. I simply waved off Seraphal and the others' concerns. Don't worry. It's just a spar, not a deathmatch. And besides, we have Seraphal-sama here. Nothing bad will happen. What do you think, Azazel? I asked, turning to him. Oh, a spar, you say? How interesting. I accept. Azazel replied with a grin. After all, a fight was the most effective way to understand me. Chapter 78, Kyoya vs. Azazel. When Azazel agreed to the spar, Rias's face was etched with worry. After all, Azazel was the leader of the fallen angels, a being equal in status to her brother, Surzex. And his power, needless to say, was that of the strongest fallen angel, one who had survived the Great War of ancient times. So, Rias quickly turned to Surzex for help. Oni-sama, Kyoya is going to fight Azazel. Although Surzex was surprised by Kyoya's decision, he remained calm and smiled at Rias. Rias, I'm here. Don't worry. Hearing this, Rias breathed a sigh of relief. To avoid causing too much damage, we moved to an open area outside the city. Surzex and Seraphal jointly created a powerful barrier. Everyone stood at a safe distance, watching the impending battle between me and Azaz. Excalibur. Without any further ado, I summoned my strongest weapon. A golden light enveloped my hand, and the legendary holy sword materialized in my grasp, its blade gleaming with a brilliant golden aura. A holy sword? And judging by its appearance, it's the sword of promised victory. At this moment, Azazel widened his eyes, a hint of shock in his heart. He hadn't expected me to summon a holy sword, and the legendary one at that. That's right, it's the sword of promised victory. But it's not time for you to be distracted. Here I come. I raised Excalibur high, and with a slash, a golden beam of energy shot towards Azazel. The shockwave from the golden slash ripped through the earth, creating a storm of swirling energy. Azazel quickly raised his hand, and several magic spears of light appeared behind him. With a terrifying whistling sound, they met Kyoya's attack head-on. Boom dash! My golden slash collided with Azazel's light spears, and in an instant, a blinding light engulfed the sky. When the light faded, Azazel appeared before me, completely unharmed. As expected of the Governor-General of the Fallen Angels, you easily neutralized my attack. But once again, I raised Excalibur high above my head. Suddenly, countless golden particles of light appeared around me, gathering within Excalibur. The sword erupted with a blinding light. Then, I locked my eyes onto Azazel, who was hovering in mid-air, and swung down. Excalibur! A devastating beam of golden energy erupted, hurtling towards Azazel at an incredible speed. That power! In that instant, Azazel felt a hint of mortal danger. He quickly constructed a defensive barrier, increasing the flow of magic power to withstand my attack. However, my attack swept away everything in its path, leaving a bottomless chasm in its wake. Dash! The beam of light slammed into the defensive barrier. Although it was blocked, the force of the impact pushed Azazel back several hundred meters before he finally stopped. Seeing this, I dashed towards Azazel with a burst of speed, swinging my sword and slashing him. By the time Azazel stabilized himself, I had already brandished Excalibur, its terrifying magical power exploding once more as I struck again. However, this time Azazel summoned a sword of light and bisected my attack. Seeing that long-range attacks were ineffective, I decided to engage in close-quarters combat. As the shockwaves from our battle raged around us, the already scarred battlefield was finally shattered completely. As time passed, I realized I was starting to be at a disadvantage. This isn't good, I thought to myself. I lost interest in continuing the sword fight with Azazel and activated Dragon's Breath, spewing a torrent of crimson flames from my mouth. Caught off guard, Azazel was forced to retreat, his disheveled hair nearly scorched. He stared at me, bewildered. You had the aura of a dragon just now. What's going on? Aren't you human? I didn't answer. The reason I can use Dragon's Breath is, of course, because I fused with the true dragon bloodline. I calmed myself and sheathed the sword of promised victory. You're not using the holy sword anymore? Have you got something else up your sleeve? But that's fine too. If you could only defeat Kokobeel with the holy sword, that would be quite disappointing. Azazel looked at me, now sheathing the sword of promised victory, his curiosity growing even stronger. This is my first time using this technique. Azazel, enjoy it. After saying this, I activated Gate of Babylon, launching an attack on Azazel. Instantly, dazzling golden energy ripples began to appear in the sky, extending even behind me. And the moment those energy ripples formed, Azazel saw it clearly. Exquisitely crafted weapons of various designs began to emerge from within the ripples. Each of these weapons radiated an aura of intense and deadly danger. Even more astonishing was that the number of golden ripples continued to increase, until the sky within the barrier was a sea of gold. Suddenly, whoosh whoosh whoosh, hundreds, thousands of weapons, glowing with golden light, shot out from the golden energy ripples. Their speed was like lightning, all of them aimed at Azazel. Like a torrential downpour. What the hell? Are you kidding me? Are those all sacred gears? Even Azazel couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat as he saw this scene. Faced with such a dense barrage, Azazel had no choice but to dodge and block. Watching Azazel scurrying around like a rat, I couldn't help but feel a surge of satisfaction. The barrage from the Gate of Babylon continued unabated. Faced with this constant barrage, Azazel was growing increasingly frustrated. Damn! Does this kid have an infinite supply of weapons? It's been so long, and there's no sign of it slowing down. After a while, when I heard the system notification that the task was complete, I stopped the attack. Then, the dense barrage of the Gate of Babylon gradually subsided. The golden ripples that had filled the sky faded away. I looked down at the figure below. Azazel was disheveled, covered in dust and dirt, and even had numerous wounds on his body. He looked utterly miserable. The scene was deathly silent. When everyone finally came to their senses, an uproar erupted. That was incredible. It was practically a one-sided beatdown. Kyoya managed to fight Azazel to this extent. Unbelievable. Down below, Rias's eyes were wide, her expression frozen in shock. Not just Rias, but the rest of the girls, even Surzex and Seraphal, were stunned by my power. Is that Kyoya's true strength? Aquino mumbled, unable to find the words. Wow, he actually beat Azazel to a pulp. What a monster! Seraphal exclaimed. Even the super devil Surzex couldn't hide his surprise. Chapter 79, Black Reward, Straight to Death, Mystical Eyes of Death Perception. Seeing Azazel's sorry state, Surzex was astonished. To think he could be pushed this far. I thought that even with the Sword of Promised Victory, he would only be able to fight Azazel for a short time. But Kyoya, you've truly surprised me. Surzex was increasingly happy with his sister's fiancé. Azazel, looking at his injuries, couldn't help but grimace. He hadn't expected to be beaten so badly by Kyoya, especially since he hadn't been using his full power. Sigh, if Shamhazai finds out about this, I'll never hear the end of it. I guess I have no choice but to get serious now. Azazel sighed, resigned, then steeled himself, deciding to unleash his full power to salvage some of his reputation. Sensing the surge of magic power from Azazel, I couldn't help but marvel. As expected of a long-established, top-tier powerhouse. I still have a ways to go before I can match him. But now that I had completed the task, there was no need for me to continue fighting. I surrender. I declared, throwing my hands up in mock surrender. Ha! You're saying you surrender? Hearing my words, Azazel was completely dumbfounded. What the hell? I was just about to get serious, and you're giving up? Azazel stared at me in disbelief. That's right, I surrender. We were just sparring, so why should I keep fighting? I'm not an idiot. I just beat you up. I don't want to get beaten up in return. Besides, didn't you say you wanted to understand me better? I said with a shrug. My words echoed throughout the barrier, reaching the ears of everyone watching. Everyone was silent. They couldn't believe how shameless I was being. Even Azazel hadn't reacted yet. Suddenly, an inappropriate burst of laughter broke the silence. Ah ha 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 ha. Seraphal started laughing hysterically, her twin tails bouncing. Sona wanted to remind her sister to maintain her composure, but when she thought about what I had said and Azazel's expression, even she couldn't help but chuckle. Ha ha ha. I can't believe Azazel got played like that. I can't take it anymore, I'm dying of laughter. I have to spread this throughout the 3 factions so everyone can laugh at Azazel. Seraphal was laughing so hard she was clutching her stomach, tears almost streaming from her eyes. The other people present also had amused expressions on their faces. No one had expected me to surrender so abruptly. Azazel had been completely played, and it was hilarious. Meanwhile, Azazel stood in the center of the scene, feeling utterly despondent. When Azazel finally recovered, he sighed in resignation, feeling incredibly frustrated. He said grumpily, "Why, you little rascal, you're really shameless, aren't you?" I simply grinned and teleported back to the ground. At the same time, the 2 Mao removed the barrier. As everyone entered, they saw the devastation of the battlefield, a testament to the intensity of the fight. "Hey, Azazel, you look terrible," Seraphal teased, unable to contain her laughter at his miserable state. Hearing this, Azazel sighed helplessly. Meanwhile, I activated the black grade gift bag I had received for completing the task on Azazel. Ding! Congratulations to the host for opening the black grade sign-in gift bag and obtaining Mystic Eyes of Death Perception. Hearing the system's reward, my eyes widened in excitement. I hadn't expected the reward to be Shiki Ryugi's Mystic Eyes of Death Perception from the Garden of Sinners. The Mystic Eyes of Death Perception were one of the most powerful karmic weapons. Mystic Eyes of Death Perception, all things come from the root. Where there is birth, there must be an end. These mystic eyes can see the lines and points of death that exist in all things. When the wielder of the mystic eyes traces the lines of death on an object, it will cause irreparable and unhealable damage. Attacking along the lines of death would result in a certain death. Shiki Ryugi, who had awakened the Mystic Eyes of Death Perception, also had a classic line, "As long as it's alive, even if it's a god, I'll kill it for you." Although I had Madara's Rinnegan, Shiki's Mystic Eyes of Death Perception were even more overpowered. From now on, even against the strongest and most resilient enemies, as long as I could see and sever their lines of death, they would be completely defeated. Although the Mystic Eyes of Death Perception were ineffective against beings on a higher plane of existence and required close proximity to cut the lines of death, their power was undeniable. Then I plucked a flower from a nearby bush and switched to my Mystic Eyes of Death Perception. When I opened my eyes, I saw various red lines clinging to the flower. I gently traced the red lines with my finger. As I expected, the flower, which had been vibrant and alive just moments before, instantly withered. Seeing the power of the Mystic Eyes of Death Perception firsthand, I couldn't help but feel like I had struck gold. After a long while, we returned home. Azazel, through Rias and the others' explanations, learned about Kokobil's plan in Kuo Town and expressed his deep apologies. But upon hearing about Kiba's balance breaker, the holy demonic sword of twin supremacy, Azazel became extremely interested. Oh, a fusion of holy and demonic power? What an incredible mode! May I meet this Kiba? I'm very interested in his sacred gear. After some discussion, Rias's father, Zeoticus, and Evelyn returned to the underworld using a magic circle. As for Surzex, he had originally planned to stay and chat with Kyoya all night, but because there were no rooms available at my house, and because of Azazel's request, and also because he wanted to learn more about Kiba's sacred gear, Sirzex had no choice but to go to Kiba's house with Azazel to stay the night. However, the most troublesome one at the moment was Sarah Fall, because she resolutely refused to return to the underworld, making Sona extremely frustrated. Sarah Fall even used me as an excuse, claiming that I had promised to film a magical girl video with her, so she had to stay. In the end, Sarah Fall got her way. Seeing her goal achieved, Sarah Fall turned to me, excitedly urging, "Quick, let's hurry up and film the magical girl video." Chapter 80, Shooting a Magical Girl Video with Sarah Fall. Seeing Sarah Fall practically begging to be taken advantage of, how could I refuse? So, I directly invited her to my room. "Come on, Sarah Fall, come to my room. I'll show you some amazing videos." Hearing my words, Sarah Fall blinked, a hint of suspicion in her eyes. "Amazing? Why do we have to go to your room to see something amazing? You're not trying to trick me, are you?" To this, I found an excuse and continued to entice her. "Hey, why would I trick you? Wouldn't it be embarrassing if Sona found out we were filming a magical girl video? Wouldn't she stop us?" Sarah Fall thought about it and nodded, agreeing with my reasoning. Then I led Sarah Fall back to my room. After a while, excited voices could be heard from the room. "Oh my God, this is amazing. Don't stop, keep going." A flushed Sarah Fall was staring intently at the video playing on my phone. The video was of an anime magical girl. Seeing the movements and costumes in the show, Sarah Fall felt like she was looking at herself. Then Sarah Fall grabbed my phone and made her request. "Kyoya, I want to film this." I smiled knowingly and replied, "Hee, no problem. Change into your outfit first, and I'll film a video or take some photos of you. Then we can send them to the TV station. That way, you'll have a better chance of getting hired." "Really? That's great. I'll change right now." Hearing this, Sarah Fall jumped up excitedly, but then she looked at me a little shyly. "You go outside first. I need to change." As soon as Sarah Fall said that, the atmosphere in the room became a bit awkward. I smiled, staring at Sarah Fall. "You already promised to share Sona with me. We're practically family now. Why are you shy about changing in front of me? Hurry up and change." Sarah Fall's eyelids twitched. Although what I said made some sense, she still felt like she was falling into a trap. After thinking for a moment, she still changed into the magical girl outfit in front of me. I watched her, my eyes feasting on her beautiful body. Even the system notification that the task was complete went unnoticed. I have to say, the girls in DxD world are of the highest quality, I thought, admiring Sarah Fall's figure. Sarah Fall noticed my gaze and blushed, her heart skipping a beat. "He's quite handsome." No, what am I thinking?" she scolded herself. Sarah Fall quickly shook her head, but a faint blush crept across her cheeks, and her expression became a little bashful. Then, Sarah Fall, trying to regain her composure, said, "How do I look?" I walked over and sat down next to Sarah Fall. She jumped a little in surprise. I looked at Sarah Fall with a burning gaze. "Even though Sarah Fall looks cute in this outfit, you still can't hide your sexiness." Sarah Fall's heart couldn't help but flutter. "Alright, I'll take some great videos and photos of Sarah Fall. I'll make sure you look amazing." I stopped pressing Sarah Fall. After all, slow and steady wins the race. Then I took charge, personally guiding Sarah Fall, making her pose in some rather seductive poses. Yes. Just like that. Hold that pose. Oh. This is perfect." Sarah Fall was making such alluring poses, and though she looked at me, she had no words to form a rebuke. She could only blush and let me play with her body. After half an hour, I finally finished my masterpiece. Looking at the results on my phone, I was extremely satisfied. But just in case, I also took some more conservative photos to send to the TV station. As for the collection on my phone, that was for my personal enjoyment, of course. After all, She was my intended wife. After putting away my collection, I looked at Sarah Fall, who seemed utterly drained. Suddenly, I had an idea. I squeezed Sarah Fall's small face. Splat! Sarah Fall's face instantly turned red, and her heart started pounding. Then, forcing herself to sound composed, she asked, "What are you doing? Be careful, or I'll hit you." Sarah Fall, I have a great idea. It will not only increase your chances of getting on TV, but it will also improve your relationship with Sona. I said mysteriously. But Sona-chan would never agree. You don't know her personality. Normally, yes. But if you cry, whine, and threaten to harm yourself, she'll definitely agree, I whispered in her ear. Feeling the warm breath on her ear, Sarah Fall blushed, but she listened intently. First, you do this, and this. Then you do that, and that. Finally, you. Meanwhile, Sona was alone in her room when she suddenly sneezed. Achoo! Am I catching a cold? But why is Wani-sama taking so long? What exactly are they doing? Sona couldn't have imagined that her sister was plotting with Kyoya to deal with her. After explaining my plan, I smiled at Sarah Fall. I've told you everything. Whether or not you can appear on the TV show with Sona is up to you. No problem. Leave Sona-chan to me, hee hee. After receiving my teachings, Sarah Fall confidently stuck out her tongue and replied. She rushed out of the room, eager to put our plan into action. Seeing Sarah Fall leave, I smiled knowingly. Not only had I completed the task, but I had also deepened my relationship with Sarah Fall. Sona, don't blame me, I thought to myself. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Sarah Fall perform together as magical girls. Now it was time to open the rewards. System, open the reward. Ding! Black grade gift bag opened successfully. Congratulations to the host for obtaining. That wraps up this part of What If Sign-In System in High School DxD. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.